Вот.
Да я повешу. Надо эту
Сейчас.
штучку нажать.
Okay. Hmm. Looks like I've got a little bit of a delay. But Oriel,
Hi.
how's it going?
Fine, thanks.
Hey, sorry, I can't tell. I keep freezing a little bit. And
Cannot hear you.
you hear me? All right. I keep getting lags when people join class, so it might be better now. Audie, how's it going?
I'm doing well, thank you, teacher. How are you?
Doing really well. Thank you for asking. And Audie, what'd you do today?
Today I'm work and um, it's I'm work and sleeping. That's it.
Wait, so you're working on sleeping, or you worked
No,
and then
no,
you're
no. I
sleeping?
mean, after work I sleep, and after I wake up, I'm doing classes.
Okay. So we'd say slept. So we need the past tense there. So after work, I
Oh
slept.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah. Thank
okay.
you.
And who else do we have? Santiago. Santiago, how's it going? Santiago, how are you? Santiago, are you there? Okay, I can't hear you. It looks like your microphone's muted. Vladimir, that was the funniest thing I've seen in a little while. Are you guys there? Vladimir, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I
Hello.
can.
Hi. And who is your friend? So we have Vladimir and who?
Vitalina.
Vitalina.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Welcome to class, guys. And so, where are you guys from?
From Russia.
Okay, from Russia. And I guess it's probably different answers, but what do you do for fun? What do you guys like to do in your free time?
Mm, I like extreme sport.
Do you like what?
Extreme sport.
Extreme sports. Okay. So, like,
Parkour.
um,
Can you hear me?
sorry, yeah, with these. Yeah, it's just it always freezes a little bit with the people coming
Yeah.
in and out. I'm not sure why. It's kind of a recent thing. And Vitalina, what about you? What do you like to do?
Oh, I'd like going to the cinema, to the theater.
Okay, nice. Really good hobbies. Vitali, welcome back. Vitali, how's it going? Maybe? Vitali, your microphone is muted.
Joshua, I'm sorry for that. I just had to finish some work. Sorry. 5
Okay,
minutes.
no worries. Are you available now?
No, I'm not available. I'm
Okay.
doing something.
Just
Sorry.
let me know then.
Okay. I'm studying.
Vincenzo. Vincenzo, how's it going?
Fine, teacher. I'm very well.
Nice. Good to see
Yes,
you again.
yes,
Uh,
nice to see you too, teacher.
Alexi, how are you? Alexi? Alright, I can't hear you. It doesn't look like your microphone is muted. Maybe if you try to leave and come back, that might help. Uh, but Alexander, how's it going?
It's going well.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, good to hear. And Alexander, what have you done today so far?
I think nothing special. I just sent some package of. I just sent a bunch of documents to the university I'm going to enter, and this package, I don't know how to say it. It will last. I'm sorry. It will take for maybe 1 week to for them to be how to say. So anyway, I just sent that package of document and that's it.
Okay. It'll take a week to arrive?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. And Adela, last but not least. Adela, how's it going?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Doing really well. Thanks for asking. Good to see you again. And what'd you do today, Adela?
Teach on the morning. Yeah.
Past tense.
Taught in the morning.
Yeah. Good. I taught in the morning. Nice. All right. And let's get started on today's class. So we're going to be talking about fairy tales. Started with next lines. Can you see it, Vladimir? And your microphone is muted.
Yeah. Should I read or what?
Yep.
In today's class, we will talk about fairy tales, read sections of fairy tales, and make up our own fairy tales.
Okay. And so just because you guys are 2 and 1, we do have 9 students in class, so I'm going to have to kind of take turns with you guys. So, yeah, I'm not trying to skip you, Vitalina, but you'll talk next. And actually, I guess, Vitalina, can you ask Vitali the first question?
Okay. What is a fairy tale? Do you know any fairy tales from your country? Do you have a favorite fairy tale?
Oh, and Vincenzo, can you answer?
I don't know. What is it, fairy tale?
What is it? Huh? What is the question? Could you repeat the question?
Just the first one, Vincenzo.
Yes, but I want to have to repeat it. Okay. What is a fairy tale? It's a tale when something is magic about how do you, I can say I don't know the word for fata. In English, fata is when you have let me see. I don't remember the name of fata. Fata. Not fata. What is it?
Fairy.
But when you have see, fairy is referred to a person that is magic, generally a woman.
A witch?
Not a witch, but a positive person that could do some very strange things, but in a good sense, in a good way. Like a miracle.
The fairies have some sorts of magical powers, and they're generally female. Sorceress, a witch. I'm not really sure. I think those are the 3 that come to mind right now, Vincenzo.
No, it's not so.
I think those are the only three that come to mind, is like magical female characters.
Yes. Uh,
Maybe can you try to explain what a fairy tale is without using the word?
I don't know, teacher.
Okay.
I
Well,
can't.
does anybody have anything to add about what's a fairy tale?
Normally
It's
talk about princess and prince in far countries, invented countries.
Yeah. In faraway, invented countries. Yeah. And what is a fairy tale? Yeah, you could say it talks. Normally they talk about princesses and princes. Okay, and so Giulietta explains Vincenzo that Fata is fairy. But good. All right, thanks, Adara. And let's have Vincenzo. Can you ask Oriol the next question?
Do you know any fairy tales from your country?
Well, I don't know if they are specific from my country, but I know I think some fairy tales.
Okay, but I know some fairy tales. One thing, the preposition would change a little bit. I don't know if they're specific to my country.
Okay.
Okay, what's one of the fairy tales that you think might be specific to your country?
Oof. I don't know. I know that, for example, the I don't know the name in English, but the the girl that wears a red cover and goes to see her grandma, and then in the boot there is a, a lion, not a wolf.
Redhead.
Another one maybe it's the a princess that is living with seven dwarves in the wood.
Okay. Living with 7 dwarfs in the woods.
But
So yeah,
I think that they aren't from Spain. They are Disney version of fairy tales.
okay. Yeah, so I don't think they are from Spain. Is one thing, so when we're negating think, we need to use this auxiliary verb. So we would never say, I think they are not.
Okay.
Never, I think they are not. We would always say, I don't think.
Okay.
So we use the auxiliary verb to do, to negate think. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, and so the first one you're talking about is Little Red Riding Hood in English. But good. And then I think Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is the other one.
Yes.
But good. Nice job, Oriel. And Oriel, can you ask Audie the next question?
Yes. Do you have a favorite fairy tale?
Yeah, I do. I like Snow White because she's pretty.
Because she is pretty.
Yes,
Okay.
just to make it simple.
Huh?
Just to make it simple answer.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a simple answer. Do you like Snow White for any other reasons?
Yes, I like the story too. Because it has a lot of version. So I mean, for the movies, I don't. Yeah, it has a lot of version. So I like to watch.
It has a lot of
Snow
what?
White. Version
Version.
of the movie.
Versions.
The movie. Yes.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, so it changes. I think that's good. Let's go on to this next page. And let's have Giulietta, can you read the title and the words?
Vocabulary: irony, curse, villain, setting, heroine, narration, narrator, climax, supernatural, wit.
Okay, good. Heroine. Heroine.
Heroine.
Yeah, the heroine. And good correction of wicked. Nice job with supernatural, narration, narrator. Yeah, I think that sounded really good. Does anybody have any questions about any of these words?
Which one?
What is curse, teacher? Curse.
Curse. Okay. Who can explain what a curse is? What's a curse?
It's like a bad magic. It's like a bad magic that was used on you.
Okay. Maybe not on you, maybe on a character.
Yeah, on a character, someone in their fairy tale.
Yeah. So bad magic that's used on a character in a fairy tale. Yeah, I think bad magic is a good way of saying it. All right. Any other questions?
Climax.
Climax? Okay. What's the climax? Who can explain?
It's the end of the story or fairy tale.
It is the most dense part of story. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most tense part of the story. Yeah.
The end of the most tense part.
It's the most tense part generally. So we have like the rising action, the climax, and then the falling action. So the climax is towards the end, not quite the end. We still have the dénouement in French, or the falling action. And then the rising action. Okay. I'm not actually sure how to write dénouement, but good. Any other questions? Okay. And so, Giulietta, can you make a sentence using villain and irony and curse? So make a sentence with villain, irony, and curse, Giulietta.
Mhm. Because of the irony of fate, the villain was able to escape the curse.
Okay, so because of the irony of fate, the villain was able to escape the curse. Alright, I think that works. And, sorry, Vladimir and Vitalina, I'm gonna mute you guys. Just, you can always unmute it when you're talking, but just to get those whispers out, which is fine. But good. And, okay, I think we're good here. Skip this. Let's read this quotation. Alexi, can you read the quotation?
Okay, quotations. When you think of Grimm's fairy tales, they are deeply psychological. They are so powerful, so bloody, and really disturbing. Think about 5 years old reading that stuff. Even Little Red Riding Hood is a really freaky story. Grandma is gobbled up by a wolf, and the wolf is going to eat the girl. That's scary stuff. Denis O'Hare.
Yeah, good. Think about 5-year-olds. 5-year-olds.
5-year-olds.
5-year-olds reading that stuff. And grandma is gobbled up by a wolf.
Mhm.
Can you repeat that too?
Uh-huh.
Grandma is gobbled up
Grandma is gobbled up by the wolf.
by a wolf, but yeah,
A wolf. Sorry.
good.
I misspelled this.
Yeah. And can you paraphrase this in your own words, Alexi? What's this trying to say?
Mm, 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 mm. I think this uh, fairy tales include some kind of maybe violence, and I don't know why the children like these stories, and they usually uh, uh, like to listen to this story, and they fascinated, and they usually excited with this story because all the story have a happy end usually.
Okay. So they usually like to listen to these stories and they feel fascinated and are excited by these stories because they have happy endings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A couple small things. I just changed the demonstrative, so these, and maybe just because you're describing what the quotation is saying, I think this is saying that fairy tales include violence. All right. And Alexander, what do you think about this? Do you agree that they're deeply psychological and that they're kind of freaky? Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, I agree because that story really bloody, and it's can be dangerous. I'm sorry, for the young generation and especially for children, because one day it can pop out something in their mind and something bad, and after reading that those books, and yes, I wouldn't recommend to read that book for my children. And I don't know. I just think that fairy tales should be with a great with a let's say with a positive scenario.
Okay, so fairy tales maybe should have
should have
more positive scenarios
without any violence or and stuff like that.
Yeah. And can you repeat scenarios?
Scenarios.
Yeah. So it's like a long O. Scenarios. And we'd say I wouldn't recommend reading, so we'd use the gerund after recommend. And those books to children. So if you're talking about your children, you could say, I just wouldn't read it to my children, because you're not really recommending to yourself. So you just say, I wouldn't recommend reading those books to children in general, or I wouldn't read those books to my children.
Okay.
Or those stories.
Thank you for correction.
Yeah. But, yeah, you did a really good job. And I think maybe one more. Adela, what do you think about that? Do you think that, fairy tales are too bloody and gory and freaky? Or do you think they're good for kids? Yeah, can you explain?
Sometimes I think the fairy tales are very strange. I think children don't understand the scenario, no? Because sometimes it's a little shocking for children, and after, for example, in the Red Riding Hood, they don't like to go to the forestry because they think the wolf is near, etc. No, I think it's not positive. They are another types of histories, different, more. Alexander say positive in positive scenario. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and so after hearing Little Red Riding Hood, they wouldn't like to go to the forest because they might think that the wolf is nearby. Yeah, good. Just remember again with don't think.
Don't think.
Yeah, so I don't think children understand instead of saying I think that children don't understand. Yeah, but you did a good job. Maybe Vladimir and Vitaly, or sorry, what's your name? It is Vitalina. Vitalina. What do you guys think about this? Do you think, because kind of going along with what Adela said, do you think there's a reason why people made fairy tales so scary and creepy? You know, were they trying to warn their kids to stay out of the forest? So yeah, what do you think? What do you think's going on here?
I don't think this fairy tale is too scary or too bloody, at least in Russian interpretation. Otherwise, it wouldn't be interesting to read it.
Okay. Or bloody. Otherwise. Yeah, what do you think, Vitalina?
I agree with Vladimir.
And I agree with Vladimir.
Okay, so we've got some agreements too.
I think, in my opinion, this terrible, scary fairy tales is preparing our children for their grocery life, I think.
For what life?
Grocery. Adult life. Adult life.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think that sometimes fairy tales might serve as warnings or, you know, kind of like, yeah, maybe manipulations of children? So, you know, where the fairy tale with the wolf in the forest, does it kind of serve to keep kids in a safer position out of the forest? Is it, you know, meant for that? What do you think they're meant for, Vitalina and Vladimir? Or are they meant for anything?
Repeat, please, the question.
So yeah, are fairy tales, are they meant for something? Or are they simply to entertain?
It depends. I'm sure some of them are meant for something, while some of them are just for selling, just to get money.
Okay. Nice. All right, that's a good answer. And I think we're good. Does anybody have any questions, comments, anything they'd like to add here on this page?
Teacher, I have a question. What is gobbled up?
Okay, does anybody know what gobbled up means?
Eat?
Yeah, eaten. Yes. So if somebody's gobbled up, they're eaten.
They eat them without chewing, maybe. A whole thing.
It's more like eaten quickly. Yeah, so if you gobble up your dinner, you just eat it really quickly. Yeah, and that's it. So I guess you could kind of imply that it's without chewing. I don't think the grandmother was chewed up in this case, but good. Let's go on to the next page. Let's skip that one. Skip that one too. Sorry. All right, let's try to make our own. And let's start with Vitaly. Can you read the title and some of the questions to consider?
Okay. Practice. Make a fairy tale. Talk to your classmates and try to make your own fairy tale. Questions to consider. Where does the story take place? Who are the good characters in your story? And
Okay.
here...
Yeah. And can you repeat characters?
Characters.
Nice. And let's have Vincenzo. Can you read the rest of the questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Who are...
Who are the evil characters in your story? What problems does the main character have? What kind of help will the main character get? What magic is involved? How will the story end?
Good. Evil. Can you repeat evil?
Evil.
Nice. Evil. I think that was really well done. Does anybody have any questions? All right, let's start with Vincenzo. So let's talk about the basics of this story. Where does it take place? Vincenzo.
This is the story. It's a story that I have to invent, teacher.
Yeah, we're gonna make up one.
Yes, we can remember about a story when a girl go in a garden and go inside a tree, a hole in the tree, and afterwards is in another world, a very strange world, where there are strange animals like a big cat or something like that. Perhaps you can remember this story, teacher.
Okay, so this sounds a lot like Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, let's try to make up our own. So let's just talk about where the story is going to take place. So what's the setting going to be, Vincenzo? If you're going to talk about a setting.
The setting.
Yeah, where will it be?
I think that the principal, I kind of say principal character is a girl that is dreaming. I think is dreaming, and the other characters. I think there are lots of characters in this story, but I don't know exactly the meaning of this story, teacher.
All right. All right. So hold on, Vincenzo. Maybe Oriel. So if we're gonna be making our own story, so we're creating our own, where will this story take place? What's the setting?
Well, our story will take place in a wood that it has a very big lake in the middle.
Nice. Big lake in the middle. This is a very interesting setting. Cool. So we'll be in the wood, in a wood, which is kind of like saying a forest that has a really big lake in the middle. Audie, so who are some of the characters? Good characters, bad characters? Who are some of our characters in this story?
The good characters is there is a prince who is encouraged.
Prince who's what?
Who is encouraged. I don't know how to spell that.
Cursed.
Cursed.
Ah, who's cursed?
Yep.
It sounds like cursed.
Cursed. Who is cursed by the old lady.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a prince who's cursed by an old lady. Anybody else?
Of course there is a prince.
Princess?
Yes.
Okay. And so we've got a prince who's cursed by an old lady and a princess. And what's this curse like, Giulietta? What's the curse?
During the day, he turns on in an eagle.
He turns into a what?
Into an eagle.
Okay. Nice. That sounds like it would be kind of a fun curse for a little bit. All right, but at night he becomes a human again?
Yes.
All right. And so, Alexei, what do they think, maybe the prince and the princess, what do they think will solve this curse? What's the solution?
The solution it will be that he have to find a magic flower in this wood.
Magic flower and do what with it?
And this flower blossom only once a year.
Okay. Do they know where it blossoms?
In this wood near this lake.
Okay. Near the lake.
But it would be a specific place where this flower is growing.
Okay, so it grows in a very specific place.
Yes, and only witch know about that.
Okay, only the witch knows about it?
Mm-hmm.
And is she trying to protect it?
Mm-hmm. With magic. Exactly.
Okay, good. I think this is pretty good. All right, let's start, Alexander, with Once Upon a Time.
It's like I have to recreate the story or to make up.
So it's like you're narrating it.
Okay, so once upon a time, there was a prince who was who lived in a wood that has a very big lake in the middle. And one day he decided to find his other half, and he is going to the nearest city. He was going to the nearest city to find his wife, his princess.
Nice. That's a good start. All right, and let's have Adela. So what happened next?
When the prince threw the wood, he found an old lady, very I don't know, old lady. This lady asked the prince about something, but the prince don't answer her, and she cursed, or she put a curse, or what is she, to the prince.
On the prince.
That is all, no? On the prince.
Yeah. So when the prince was walking through the woods, he found an old lady. The lady asked the prince about something, but the prince didn't answer her, and she put a curse on. Maybe we'd use the pronoun him.
On him.
Object pronoun. Yeah. That sounds good. All right, and Vladimir and Vitalina, what do you guys think happens next?
Uh, soon he realized that the woman made something bad to him.
Maybe did something bad to him?
Did. Yeah. Okay.
So can you describe the curse a little bit?
Yeah, I know what the curse is.
Yeah, but describe it just in the story. So our readers know.
Once the sun rise up,
The sun rose?
Sun rose up, he turns into an eagle.
Okay, maybe here, whenever the sun
rises up
into an eagle. Maybe something like that. So whenever the sun rose, he would turn into an eagle. Can you repeat that?
Whenever the sun rose, he would turn into an eagle.
Yeah, good.
At the dawn, he become a human again.
At sunset.
Sunset.
Because dawn is in the morning, and sunset is at night.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Okay, and really good. I think that's great. Vitali, what happened next? Maybe does he find his princess? How does he figure out how to solve the curse? We've got a couple things to answer. What happens next, Vitali?
No, it doesn't matter because one unknown kid is wake up on the class and come to real life.
Re-enters real life.
Real life. Welcome to real life and go to the table.
Aww. Okay. And then he falls back to sleep because his friend...
No sleep.
It's
no fairy tale.
on the head. And so, Vincenzo, so continuing on with the story, what happens next?
He sleep because his friend hits him on the head.
Yeah, and so back to the Princes and Eagle. What happens?
So it was late that night. But the prince couldn't sleep because there was something that he didn't know about. Something very strange happened that night. He was terrorized by a big cat that was next to him. It was a terrible cat. So he ran away till he reached a big cavern, and here he could sleep.
Okay, he could sleep. And so, okay, so that night after he is cursed by the witch, he has a run-in with a big cat, and then he finds a cavern where he sleeps. All right, Oriel.
A wild cat, teacher.
Okay, yeah, good.
A big wild cat.
A big cat is generally a wild cat. So we can refer to like lions and tigers as big cats. So that's like another name for them. Leopards, stuff like that. So Oriel, what happens next? And so we need to introduce the princess, introduce how he finds the solution to his curse, maybe what it's like to be an eagle. We could talk about a number of different things. But yeah, Oriel, so what happens
Okay.
next?
When she suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and realizes that he wasn't alone in the cave. There also was a girl that she told them that she was a princess.
Okay.
She also explained that that she was cursed and knows the solution for this curse, that is to go near the big lake to smell some flowers.
Nice. And smell. I think we were talking about magic flower. Okay, good. That was perfect. So we've got a lot. We've moved forward in our story. And so, Julieta, what happens next?
Okay. Suddenly the sun rose up and his body started to be covered by feathers. And he could not speak again. And his instinct to fly the mountain make him to fly away.
Okay, I'm not quite clear on the end of that. So he couldn't speak anymore, and then what?
And the instinct to fly makes him to fly away.
Okay, and the instinct to fly made him fly away. Nice. Yeah, so a couple small things that just changed, but generally that was really good. Nice. And
I'm sorry. Joshua, could I ask you a question?
Yeah, for sure.
Here and the instinct to fly, because is it correct to say like that? Because I think the instinct of flying would be better, no?
No, I think generally the instinct to fly made him fly away. The instinct, like, it's maybe a little bit awkward, but I think it sounds better than the instinct of flying.
Okay.
The flying instinct. Yeah, the instinct to fly. I think that's the best way to put it. For me. Good question, though.
Thank you for
Alexi. Yeah, for sure. Good question. Alexi, what happens next?
Okay. He fly away to the mountains, and he flew away to the mountains, and he find there a kind wizard, not wizard.
Ah, kind of wizard.
A kind wizard who helped him to get rid of his curse.
Okay. So, slightly off. So does the wizard just magically get rid of his curse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now he's not cursed, but he's on top of a mountain with a wizard. All right, Alexander, what happens now?
So now he had to climb down from the mountain, and it was difficult because he didn't have any magic power anymore. but he asked wizard again to help him with that, and the wizard told him that okay, but it is your last wish, and then I'll disappear. So he helped him, and our prince climbed down, and there in the valley he found the princess again, and they fell in love. They fell in love with each other at first sight, and then everything will be great.
Okay, and then everything
Yeah,
we
it
could
was great.
say. Yeah, it was great. It ended happily ever after. That's good.
They had a lot of children, a big house, and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we call this like the god from the machine, which is the wizard that solves everything, which is good. It's a simple way to end it. Okay. And Adela, did the prince ever ignore old ladies again?
The prince ever ignore old ladies again? The prince learned that he needed to help when an old person has very tired, had or to help another person without
Okay.
when an old person only is the
Yeah, so maybe the prince learned he needed help when an old person asked.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, good. So it looks like he learned his lesson, and he got to be an eagle for a little bit, which sounds pretty fantastic. Yeah, I think the only terrible thing was the big cat, and maybe waking up and getting hit on his head by his friend. But good. Does anybody have any questions about this story? Questions or comments? Okay, I think we're good then. We're a little bit short on time. Let's go here. And Vladimir or Vitalina, either one of you, can you guys read the title and this next part?
Practice with a picture. What is happening in the picture? Why? What will happen next?
Good. And can you start us out? So begin with what's happening and what's going to happen next, maybe.
A man is sleeping. I don't know. Who is this? Small man.
Okay, so a man is sleeping and there's a small man.
He's trying to climb up the table.
Uh-huh. Good. Maybe one last one with Vladimir and Vitalina. Why is the little man trying to climb up the table? What happened to the big man? What's going to happen? Yeah, why is this happening?
Maybe the big man is drunk.
Yeah, good. Okay, and
the small one is trying to wake him up.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Vitali, what's gonna happen next?
You know what I'm saying. It is that unknown king after hitting by the head. He lies 5 years in that post, actually.
Who got hit on the head and streamed up the last story. Okay, so that's good.
He lies 5 years in that post. He lies 5 years. And
Okay.
and with this, the bot, which hitting, some hitting him. No, boy, the bot. Shoes, a shoes.
Okay, the boot?
A shoes.
Boots.
Okay. The boots flying in his head.
Hit him in the head. Alright, yeah, well, good. And he lay in his toast for 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. We are unfortunately out of time. Does anybody have any last questions, comments, suggestions, anything before we finish up? Okay.
Not good.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in. It was really good having you guys in class. It was a great story. It was really funny. But yeah, thanks again. Hopefully I'll see you again soon, and have a really good day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you, goodbye.
Thank you, Tishay.
Испанского.
Goodbye.